Hi everyone, welcome to my next video. I guess you can tell by the title, this is about how I just got lost in the woods, and I am standing in my own driveway now, so I did make it home. But I wanted to create this video on a serious note because I learned something today that I never thought I would ever have to deal with. And what's funny is Maggie knew the way back. A storm is coming and she doesn't like to be out when it's windy and dark and rain is coming. Shippy could care less, but she wanted to go back and I followed her on the leash. But I learned something really important today because this is the first time I've ever been lost in the woods. And it was the video you asked I'm answering, the one prior to this. And I didn't realize I was lost until after I ended my video. And here's what happened. Brand new park. Well, actually, it's a very old park. I'd never been there before. But it's pretty small compared to all the other ones that I've been hiking on. But this one was not really all that well maintained, and I didn't understand the markers on the trees. And if you've seen that video, there were some yellow colored paint marks, and then there were some blue ones. And I need to figure out what that means because I think the yellow is maybe supposed to be on your left to return back to the parking lot, and the blue on your right, although I'm not sure. But I'll tell you, I did have a mild case of not panic, but extreme concern when I realized I was lost. And here's what happened. I was so excited about doing the video and following the trail, and there were times that you'll see in the video, if you haven't seen it, that I'm not even sure which way to go, but I'm just walking along completely, having a wonderful time, not a care in the world. And I'm going to turn this around while I'm talking so you can see this beautiful tree behind me. I am standing in my own driveway, so I did make it home just to make sure, and I'm going to turn this around so you can see and I just want to show you this beautiful tree while I'm talking about my scary experience. And I'm going to do many videos of foliage in the next week because it's going to be, I guess they call it peak season. So I'll just show you the foliage while I'm talking. Now, the park is marked with a various trail system, and there's only 2 trails, and that was misleading because just because there's only 2 trails doesn't mean you can still get lost. But I figured there's no way I could get lost with only 2 trails. Well, they're not in a straight line, so you can get really twisted by following these trails. And what happened was, everything I thought was fine while I was doing my video, and since it was looking like it might rain, I turned around and I ended my video, and that was the point where I just realized I didn't know which way to go. Now, mistake number 1, which I've learned, I'm going to buy a compass that fits in my jeans pocket, and I'm going to look at that compass before I leave the parking area to know which way the parking area is. Now, before I forget, if any of you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comment section because I welcome them. Yes, I did have internet, but I didn't know which direction the parking lot was in. And of course, you need to know that in order to find your way back to the parking lot. I started feeling a little panicky because I thought, if I'm taking the wrong trail, I'm going to have to hike it for an hour before I find out if it's the right trail or the wrong trail. And if it's the wrong trail, it's going to bring me back right where I started. And obviously, the other trail will be the right choice. But I also realized how I wasn't paying attention when I first started heading out, and I wasn't reading the trail signs at all because I was busy recording on my phone. And actually, all the trails, I'm sorry, I correct myself, all the trails that I have been videoing, I am familiar with. And so my level of comfort is pretty much a sure thing when I'm out in the woods. But this park I had never been to. But I made the assumption that just because it was small, I couldn't possibly get lost. And that was my mistake. And I used to watch videos of people who did get lost in the woods. And I used to wonder, well, how the heck can that happen? But see, today's a cloudy day, and I didn't have the sun to check either. And I didn't have any frame of reference. And I realized that as I started to grow more concerned, I knew that was a bad thing because I wasn't thinking clearly. And I was also mad at myself for being so stupid. And I realized, oh my gosh, can you imagine? This lady is lost in the woods in a very small park. And how embarrassing would that be, right? So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to either bring some red markers to mark the trees, or I'm going to get use some of my red wool that I'm using for my rug braiding. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to tie my little red strips onto the tree branches so I can learn where each trail goes. Because it's a beautiful park and I do want to explore it again. And I've also learned that trail maps are not always accurate or the best way to go in a park that's not well maintained. Because if you're following a trail that's really overgrown, you can end up on a trail that's been created by the deer and by the wildlife, thinking that it's the trail. And it's not at all. And also, I thought Sheppy might know the way back, but I learned that Sheppy will go wherever I go, and he could care less. But it was Maggie who knew the way back, because when I stood still and I just watched her, she faced in one direction, pulling on the leash, and I knew that she knew that was the way back because she wanted to go home. So that was a good thing to learn about my dogs, which one to depend on. Now here's something interesting. I used to ride horses all the time. I've had horses all my life, up until about 10 years ago. And it's funny, but a horse will always know their way home, no matter where you are. And I have been out on many trails, of course, knowing where I am. But the minute you let the reins go and let them decide, they will always turn towards home. So are horses smarter than dogs? I don't know. And maybe Sheppy is so easygoing. He was fully prepared to go for a longer hike. But I did learn not to panic. And I did realize how you can get so easily turned around in a small area, and how quickly even a small kind of a panic can set in when you really don't know your way back. And I was really annoyed with myself for not paying more attention as I was hiking, because on my way back to the parking lot, I saw a lot of very unique things along the way that I should have taken notice. And I didn't, because I was just taking everything in. And so I think the answer, unless some of you have any other ideas, which is to, first of all, get a compass. And before I leave the parking lot, know which way the parking lot is in relation to the trail. And I think that would have helped me a great deal. I did activate a compass on my phone, but without knowing which way the parking lot was, it didn't help me at all. And it's too bad Google doesn't have a on Google Earth. I know that there's a way where you can use that little caricature and tell your location on that, but not out on the trails, not in the woods. And it's too bad they don't have an app for that. But if anybody knows of one, can you please let me know? And I would love to download it and use it, because that would have been helpful. But I just didn't have my bearings. I didn't know where I was. And that's kind of scary. And I had never felt that way before. So I'm laughing now because I'm home and I'm standing on my own property and the dogs are exhausted. We're going to go home and make dinner. And it sure does feel good to be home. But I'm kind of glad it happened today, because I learned how to be more cautious when I'm hiking a new area, and that I really need to know north, south, east, west before I leave the parking area and before I go into the woods. So there you go. You can get lost even in a small park. So I hope you're enjoying all these colors. I think it's going to be peak season next week. Today's Thursday. I'll be posting this on Saturday or Sunday, because I'll be publishing tomorrow's video Friday. You asked, I'm answering. So this video I'll be posting on Sunday, I believe. So please laugh. And first time I've ever in my entire life been lost. I have been lost driving, but of course you have Google Maps and all of that, which also isn't accurate, because when I was traveling cross country, Google Maps led me to a lot of really bad places, supposedly shortcuts, which were really sketchy neighborhoods. So I don't think much of Google Maps at all. But I'm home now, and it was an experience. And I welcome all your comments and all your thoughts and suggestions in particular. And I'm going to go back and mark that trail somehow, because I do want to learn my way around it. It's a beautiful trail, and it did lead to the ocean, but I never figured out how to get there, because I decided to turn around and come back. But anyway, you get to see some foliage. This is just absolutely stunning. And apparently all the leaf peepers will be coming up. I think they head to New Hampshire and Vermont as well. And I'm just so fortunate that I live here and all I have to do is walk out in my own backyard to see this. And I'm going to do a lot of videos with the foliage for all of you who do not live in New England. And I'm also going to try to do a collage type of video where I can create many, many different types of trees and different colors and put them all together. I think that would be a really fun project. I'm going to do that next week too. So thanks so much, everyone. And again, if you have any ideas about apps or helpful tips, when lost in the woods. Um, please let me know. But again, all of the trails that I have videoed so far, I am familiar with, and they're very clearly marked and very well maintained. But this one was not. And I've learned my lesson, and actually I'm glad it happened, because I did learn a lot about what to do next time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed all the colors. And take care, everyone.